Hi guys, my boyfriend's gonna do my hair, brush my hair, and talk about some things like the UFO reports. Okay. He just got out of the shower, so his name's Brian. Okay, so.
Well, as a lot of people may be aware, there's been a much anticipated report coming out from the United States government regarding this phenomena, if you will, of UAP, also known as unidentified aerial phenomena, or as more well-known, UFOs. So basically, with the coronavirus thing taking place, there was legislation that was part of the coronavirus relief package that required the Director of National Intelligence to disclose all the information they had on UFOs and UAPs and those type of weird anomalies in the sky. And so the Director of National Intelligence put together his report and sent it over to Congress, probably within the last week. And that report has been made public, but only parts of it. There is a classified section, which I would assume that portion has more to do with sensor data and stuff, that we just don't want our foreign adversaries to know that we have this type of technology. Okay, but to go on, so the report was released about these incidences that have been occurring. 144 of them was outlined in the report. And these are incidences that have been occurring mostly with our military wing, if you will, of the government. And there might be sensory bias there, as you might be aware, around a lot of military installations and aircraft carriers and deployments on the ocean. The U.S. government has the hardware and the sensory hardware to detect any anomalies or anything that might occur. So, a few years ago, there was a captain named Captain Favor, and I don't mean to jump around so much, but Captain Favor, I need to do a little bit of backpedaling here because Captain Favor is an important part of this. Captain Favor is known from what is known as the USS Nimitz encounters, and I believe these encounters took place in 2014. But to any extent, what he observed, along with his co-pilot, along with radar data, forward-looking infrared data, sonar data, was a white tic-tac shaped object moving abruptly among the ocean surface. And he said that it was much like a ping pong ball bouncing around inside of a glass case. Fairly interesting. It was noted that there was no visible signs of propulsion, abrupt maneuvering, and it also seemed to display characteristics of transmedium and travel, meaning that it could go from the sky down into the ocean, almost flawlessly unopposed. No type of real resistance. It was tracked, like I said, through the radar data and the infrared data, and he visually witnessed, Captain Fravor visually witnessed these objects along with his co-pilot. Also apparently, there was a situation that took place where the object went below the water, and it was picked up by U.S. Navy submarines, and there's good sonar data on this as well. So, and this is only one instance out of hundreds perhaps of these things occurring. And so the government wanted an explanation on these things. They wanted to know what these things were. What is it that's moving into U.S. airspace? What's going on? It's obviously not a good idea, or a good thing, I guess you would say, if our foreign adversaries are operating within our air defense zones, and we can't do much about that. I mean, they obviously are technologically ahead of us. That's a good thing to note too, is that there's actual footage of this. It's referred to as Go Fast or Gimbal. Go Fast and Gimbal, and I believe there's another one of these objects actually appearing on different types of sensory data platforms. I believe in those instances it was forward-looking infrared FLIR. So, what is operating inside our airspace? That's the question. What's operating with no visible signs of propulsion? What's able to move at hypersonic speeds? What's able to maneuver abruptly? What's able to have transmedium travel? What's able to even have cloaking, if you will, stealth? What type of entities possess that type of technology that the U.S. government now says for a fact does exist? Well, that was the purpose of the report. And the report concluded more or less a whole lot of nothing. There was 144 specific instances regarding our military that were looked into. Only one instance was explained. That instance was a deflating hot air balloon. The other 143 instances still remain unexplained by the government. In the report, it also outlined the need for additional funding and research on the matter. They concluded it was different possibilities were looked at as far as what these things could be when the investigation took place. And among these things was a foreign adversary, perhaps some type of research project going on in China or Russia. That was looked into, I think largely dismissed. Of course, our own technology being the only superpower that remains, of course we have to look at ourselves, and it was determined that it was not our own technology either. So they thought maybe it was debris in the air. And, could they rule out that these things was a plastic bag flying around? Could they rule out that they were a flock of birds? And it turns out that yes, they were able to rule those things out. And then additionally, there was another criteria that they were trying to use as a way to prove or disprove what these things actually were. Oh, it was the other. The government added a section called other to try to figure these out. And that other is where things get really interesting. So we know that it's most likely not a foreign entity. We know that it's most likely not our own research project. We know that it's not like ball lightning or ice crystals or some type of natural phenomenon. And we also know that it's not airborne clutter, as they call it. So, what is it? That is the question. And that's where the government added the other bin. And in that other bin leaves a lot of room for speculation. And nobody really knows. The government still doesn't know. I don't know. Nobody knows what these things, these crafts, these entities actually are. They could be spiritual. They could be interdimensional. They could be extraterrestrial. They could be something that I haven't even suggested, or none of us have even thought of.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And the thing is if you can say that it's not from her here, it's not Russia, it's not China, it's not the United States, it's not something that the Earth does, or naturally, some type of natural phenomenon, then that kind of only leaves ideas and speculation and a lot of theorizing, And among some of these theories, one that was proposed, I believe, from part of the Advanced Aerial Identification Threat Program, the scientists that were part of the program, was that it could perhaps be an interdimensional travel. And what that means is that it is something that we can't quite perceive through our five senses, through taste, hearing, smelling, etc. If we can't perceive it, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. There's a lot of things we can't perceive that exist, such as Wi-Fi, radio frequencies, ultrasounds. There's a whole spectrum. As a matter of fact, I would submit that most of the universe we can't even observe, just because we don't have the sensory to observe it with. And perhaps these beings lie in that portion of the unobservable universe. And perhaps maybe they've learned to cross over somehow to our dimension. Or maybe not at all. Maybe they're from another galaxy. We know that gravity has a strange effect on space and time continuum. Albert Einstein demonstrated this. So
Look how dark it's getting.
No.
It's stormy.
Storm's horrible. So perhaps.
So if you guys hear that, it's just the rain on the air conditioner. I hope it's not too loud. Okay guys, we're back. We had to stop it because we had a pretty loud storm. So we're gonna get back to the UFO report he was telling about.
Yeah, so basically, as I was saying earlier, we had already talked about these entities as being something a little bit more odd, like interdimensional beings. That's one suggestion I've heard and seen raised. And then I started talking a little bit with you about the fact that they could be intergalactic and how that they could have traveled here through the vastness of space. But to any extent, what we do know that these entities, these craft, we do know that these are tangible vehicles. These are something that's you can put your hands on. I've heard a lot of rumors out there, but it's all just rumors. I haven't seen anything or necessarily believe it myself, but I've heard that these craft are in the possession of the United States government at secret and undisclosed facilities. Now, whether I believe that or not, I don't know. You might ask, well, why wouldn't that be a part of the UAP report if we've had these? Well, you also have to remember there is a classified section of this report where it could entail that. I think more likely that it entails a lot of our sensory data that we have that kind of backs up the existence of these things, but we don't want our foreign adversaries to know that we have certain sensory data and sensory platforms, and so we keep that classified. So yeah, it appears that we are being visited by something of some sorts, And I really believe that it is going to change the way our civilization goes forward, and I think it's going to change the way in which we conduct ourselves as humans and as nations on this planet. If it doesn't, then I'm not really all that optimistic for the long-term survival of humanity. But of course, those are just my opinions. Very important guy, Lou Elizondo. He headed the Advanced Aerial Identification Threat Program, which is the name of the program that has been investigating these objects, also referred to as ATIP. And he basically was asked what his feelings would be on if what he knew was made available to the general public. What is his opinion on how the public may react to the information that he has that he's still bound by non-disclosure agreements with the U.S. government? And his answer was to me, it was a gut-wrenching one. His answer was somber. He said that if the general public knew the information that he had and the intelligence that he had, he said that we would be somber. I have a good feeling that Lou Elizondo has a good idea of what these things might be, or just as good as idea as the U.S. government might. But once again, he's brought forth a lot of information already, and I don't expect him to break his non-disclosure agreements with the U.S. government. So somber. What does that mean, somber? I think that maybe it doesn't all end well for humanity in the end. Maybe we have to do a lot of reflection as a species. Maybe we have to do a lot of reflection on our thought processes, or theological, philosophical processes that might have to be re-examined. We might have to think about who we are within what we consider maybe our reality, or who we are within our cosmos. There's something going on out there, and I really believe that we are at a point where we are finally able to give credence to a lot of the reports that have been made over the past 70, 80 years regarding these phenomena, given the fact that it's 2021, we have advanced system platforms that can detect a wide range of issues. Now, these are not anomalies like you might think. I mean, you could say, well, maybe it's a sensory data issue, some type of glitch, or maybe it's a spoof in the infrared. Well, that could be a credible idea, although I would say that these systems rarely ever spoof, and I know that from experience. But I think that you have to rule that out quickly when you realize that this data comes from multiple sensory data platforms. For example, sonar and infrared are two different systems, but both systems detected the object. Optical, what you might see, and radio waves are two different sensory systems, but both systems potentially could detect these things and have detected these things.
Do you want to pick something to do my hair? I have this bag of all this hair stuff. He's gonna pick something to put in my hair. forget where I got it, but I glued it down with my tape. I put a little piece of tape there so it would stay down. Okay. Alright. Okay, come on. Okay. You might have to come around and put it in. Okay, yeah, you can do that way too.
Come through here. I'll just come through here. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the look. Ta-da. Do this higher. Sorry, my stand ain't very high. There we go. What do you think of the look?
The what?
The look? Like what you did to my hair?
Yeah, I like it.
Do you have anything? Huh?
Your hair's so smooth.
Yeah, because you brushed it for like 14 minutes. No, wait. Yeah, like. Is there anything else you would like to say more about that subject?
Well, I think it's just, it's all there. If people will just take the time to go and look it up. Type in gimbal, Gimbal, go fast. FLIR 1, FLIR. But this is all important. To me, it's very important. And it really, I think it's really going to deepen our understanding of who we are and perhaps what we're doing here.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for watching, guys. We're gonna get off here. This is the look right here. My hair's getting long. Alright, guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye.